What is going on, people? It's Matt from Liquid Loans, and in this video, I'm going to be chatting with Jesse and debunking some myths on liquidations. Let's go. Hey Jesse, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing today?
Good, I like your background.
I like it too.
Very
We're
bullish.
going to the
We're going to the moon.
moon.
Well, listen, man, no messing around. Let's get straight into it because I wanted to have a chat about liquidations because I see a lot of people still confused about liquidations. And I think it's around the semantics of, leverage trading and losing all your money and, what happens on KuCoin and all these centralized exchanges. And liquidations work very, very differently in liquid loans. So what would you say to people who think they're going to lose all their money and even more maybe?
Well, it's just impossible. You can't
Hmm.
lose all your money in liquid loans. You've already extracted um, capital in the form of USDL stablecoin, regardless, right? So if you've entered into a vault and you've set a collateral ratio, and at some value underneath of what you put in the vault, you've already extracted some USDL. You're already doing other things with that USDL. You're spending your capital, whether you're reinvesting it or you're extracting it back, to fiat. Like, you've already got all your money up front.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I think people are getting confused because they think, yeah, like I just said before, it's similar to leverage trading where you're going to lose everything. You've already got 90% of the value of your vault up front. And all the system
Mm-hmm.
cares about is that 10%. So the most you'd ever lose, whether the system's in normal mode or recovery mode, is going to be 10% because you've got that stable coin on the front end. And I've heard you talk about strategies where actually it could be even better to get liquidated because the market could have dumped 50%. And maybe your friend who was holding the same amount of pulse before has now got 50% less. You took a certain amount. I think you said 70. It was an example of around 70K. You put some of it to
Mm-hmm.
work. The market dumps. Not only have you earned more from the loan you took, where maybe you put it into Hex or some other sort of staking protocol, now you've still got 70K in stablecoin, or maybe just a little bit under that, or maybe more because it's been at work, and you go back and pick up even more pulse. So it could be a positive thing.
Right. It very well could be a positive thing. Now, what I'd like people to realize is um, this isn't a new concept. Some of the mechanisms that keep people safe in this protocol are pretty revolutionary. So, like, for example, what you'll find in this protocol is it forces people to maintain healthier collateral levels so
Mm,
that they don't even risk liquidation, right? And you don't see those safety parameters necessarily in place in something like Maker. So if you look at like DAI, how is DAI even created? Well, DAI is made because people have collateralized Ethereum. Now you can collateralize other things as well,
mm,
but the point is there's a speculative asset that's collateralized, and there's more value in the protocol than what is minted in the form of stablecoin. So you see this sort of thing in DAI. That's how all DAI in existence is made. That's how all LUSD from the Liquidity protocol is made. And that's how all USDL from the Liquid Loans protocol is made. There's
mm,
always more collateralized and in the system than what's ever minted.
mm,
Now, some people can choose to have a very, very, very healthy collateral level,
mm,
right? So you're welcome to collateralize at 1,000%, 5,000%, 1,000,000%, whatever makes you feel comfortable. And when you're making that decision, basically you have to ask yourself, how far do I believe that the value of my collateral could fall? So let me give an example. If I collateralize $100,000 worth of PulseCoin, and I say I'd like to mint myself $10,000. Okay. For me to lose my Pulse coin, even though I got my USDL up front, I got my $10,000 and I'm doing whatever I want to with it. For me to lose all those Pulse coin that I'm using as collateral, Pulse itself would have to start declining in value. So if you're looking at $100,000 of the Pulse and now it's $90,000, you're like, ooh, the markets are just retraced 10%. And then you see it keep going, like, ooh, wow, Pulse isn't doing very well. It's retraced another 10%, and then another 10%, and it keeps heading towards zero. Now, I've already got my 10,000 up front, and I'm still nowhere near the liquidation point. But I do have options the entire time. I could either top up my collateral, put myself into a safer position. I can pay my loan back. Maybe I had taken that $10,000 and I had put it into the stability pool and I'm earning loan tokens, for example. So that's where I park my dry powder. So I'm looking at my vault and I'm thinking, wow, Pulse is really going down. Maybe I should pay back my loan. Okay, I have that choice. So I simply just withdraw my USDL and I pay my loan off. I don't lose a single Pulse coin in that scenario, right? Because I don't have any debt. I just paid it back. But if I let it keep going, and let's say Pulse just keeps going down and down and down forever until it gets to within 10% of what I've already withdrawn in the form of a loan, then yes, I will lose my Pulse coin. I will lose my Pulse coin, but what's cool is I've already got, like if I was holding Pulse liquid, that's the value that I would have at that time anyway. But I've lost my Pulse coin, but I've already got my USDL up front that I've already put to work for me.
Yeah.
Right? So the risk of liquidation in this protocol is if you're under collateralized, if you're too close to that 10% level, yes, you could potentially lose some Pulse coin, but you've already extracted almost all of that value up front in the form of USDL.
Yeah. And just to reiterate, the most value you're going to lose is 10%. You're not going to lose 100%. Most you'll ever lose is 10%.
The most value you would ever lose is 10%.
So you could even see that 10% as a fee to get liquidity early while holding on to your Pulse coin if that happened to you. But obviously everyone wants to hopefully collateralize safely, 2, 3, 500%, even 1,000% if you want to be really safe. The Liquid Loans protocol is great because it's so flexible and it depends on what's going on in your life. Let's say you're going traveling for a month and you don't want to be glued to your computer, then go high, 1,000%. And still, don't not look at your phone or laptop, but maybe check at it, every couple of days or whatever. It's up to you how you want to use the system.
Yes.
But the system.
Let me compare it though. Let's go through a comparison. Alternatively, if you wanted to sell your Pulse coin to extract value, you guaranteed, unless you live in just a handful of places in the world where taxes don't matter, like the Cayman Islands or something,
or Dubai,
but guaranteed you're going to lose more than 10%. You will likely have had capital gains.
Yep.
Short-term capital gains can be as much as 36%. Plus the slippage from the automated market maker, right? So let's just say that's a percent or two, okay. So we'll just say 38%. So you're guaranteed, absolutely guaranteed, if you sell, you will lose 38%. Right off the bat, immediately.
Yep.
Why would you ever sell and immediately throw away 38% when you had the option to instead over-collateralize, withdraw in the form of a loan with the potential that you could lose 10%? Not the guarantee, but a potential. And that potential is what you set that risk at, right? So you can either go sell and just immediately lose 36 or 38%, or just take a loan out against your asset, with the far possibility that you could lose 10%.
Yeah.
If you collateralize it over and keep yourself over 150%, you can never get liquidated. There's never a
Mm.
time in the protocol where, as long as you maintain collateral at over 150% of what you've already taken out in the form of a loan, that you would ever be liquidated.
Yep. Yep. Even in recovery
That's
mode.
why, yeah, even in recovery mode. So this is why with liquidity, what you see is an average collateral of around 200 to 300%, because the average users know that their collateral can never be touched or liquidated, rather, as long as they stay over 150. So they keep themselves over 150%, and then they can sleep at night and they don't have anything to worry about.
Don't they have about 2 billion in collateral and about 900 million in debt, in loans?
Yeah, so they have between $2 and $2.5 billion worth of collateral. There's 900 million some dollars worth of debt right now.
Nice. So you got over 200% total collateral ratio of the system in there.
Right. So all that collateral would have to just, like, Ethereum would just have to start tanking down to zero to start liquidating any of those, like the majority of those accounts.
And also, I just want to go back to something you said earlier, because you said this before in other streams, and I think you touched on it here. It's not going to dump 90% overnight. So as long as you're keeping an eye on the market, you can always add Pulse to improve your collateral ratio, or you can pay back some of your loan. If you see it waterfalling down, like Hex did, right? Hex dropped, what, 70, 80% in the last 3 or 4 months? But it was slow, and it was a waterfall down, down, down. If you're looking at the market, which you should be, if you're investing, you should be at least glancing, every couple of days or once a week. If you see it going near there, take action, improve your collateral ratio, or pay back some of your debt, and you're never going to be liquidated. Another thing is, people are still worried about this. I think they're thinking it's like a leverage exchange where a scam wick is going to come down and wick you out. That's not going to happen, because liquidations are not automatic in the liquid loans protocol. They're manual. Somebody has to go through, see it, and then press that button. So
that's great.
And it's not going to cause cascading liquidations either.
Yes, there's a couple of things that protect against scam wicks. One is this thing called time-weighted averages. So, like, if there's a wick that lasts, even 60 seconds, it doesn't matter, because you're pulling an average over a period of time, say 30 minutes or 15 minutes or 5 minutes or something, right? It's really, really hard for anybody to wick something down and keep it down for an extended length of time. Like, the amount of capital somebody needs to be able to suppress a price, for an extended period of time, it just starts to become astronomical. It's crazy. This is something that even the founder of PulseChain, Richard Hart, has talked about often: time-weighted averages and why you would use them and why they protect people. But then there's other things, such as decentralized oracles, pulling your price calls from numerous places and aggregating, right? So you don't ever want to pull a price just from one single place at one instance in time. That's easily manipulated. But when you combine, like I said, time-weighted averages with pulling your price feed from places and from decentralized oracles and stuff, scam wicks then no longer become an issue. You see these scam wicks on central exchanges.
Of course.
Why? Because they're grabbing their price from their exchange that they hold all the keys to, or hold all the coins on. And then there's these things called cascading liquidations, where one guy gets triggered, there's an automatic sell-off. The next guy gets triggered because the price just keeps going down. You don't see that in DeFi. You could see 90% retraces that are very slow, that take some time, just like you mentioned, right? But you don't see it in a split second. And if PulseChain did that, listen, let's be real here. If PulseChain retraced 90% in a split second, and then it did a 2x or a 5x the next second, and then it went a couple days, and then a 90% retrace, like split second. If it was just wild, huge wicks just up and down.
Mm.
Who would ever use a chain that did that?
Yeah, of
Point to
course.
any blockchain where that happens. It doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
exactly.
It exists. That behavior exists on central exchanges that offer leverage, futures market trading. That that sort of chart action does not exist in DeFi. It doesn't
Mm.
happen.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, the central exchanges don't care where the price goes. They just want to liquidate you, whether you've gone long or you've gone short, right? They just want you liquidated, and they want to take your crypto. This is completely different to the liquidation. And the only thing that's similar is the name it shares, right? Liquidation. It's completely
Mhm.
different in the way the protocols run, and you're not going to lose all of your money because you got that USDL up front. As long as you're safely collateralized, like you said, if you're over 150% collateralized, which you should be, right? Everyone should be if they want to hold on to their pulse. Doesn't matter, even if the system goes into recovery mode. And recovery mode is when the total collateral ratio falls under a certain percentage, 150%. Then it starts
Mhm.
to even liquidate vaults that are under 150%. So what's the key
But
to
even
that?
with them, but even with them, only 110% of what they've taken out of
Exactly,
that they've
exactly.
already.
And any remainder can be reclaimed by the liquidated borrower. So,
Mhm.
but that being said, how do you avoid that? Always stay over 150%. Always have
Absolutely.
always be at that level, and then you won't have to worry about it. Hopefully more, hopefully 200, 300, 500.
Right. There's other mechanisms that place in place too that steer. Well, first off, everyone's steered towards safe collateral levels. But there's other things that literally prevent people from being liquidated altogether.
Mm,
Even that guy who's down at the 110% level, there's pieces of the protocol in place to protect him,
mm,
such as the redemption mode. Like people can literally come in and just pay his loan off
sure.
by doing a redemption, and it just closes his loan. And guess what? He doesn't lose 110%.
Mm,
It saved him from liquidation. He gets to keep that 10%. And that's
mm,
called redemption. So I hope people like crack into the white paper and they read how these things work, how liquidations work, how the redemption mechanism works, and it really started to be comfortable with this, knowing that the entire protocol steers everyone in the correct direction, keeps
mm,
everybody in the correct health levels, and the most that anybody, and it's their choice if they're that low. Like we said, stay over 150. You never even need to worry about it. But for those people who are down by within 10% of what they've already minted in the form of stablecoin, um, they put themselves there. And there's other things in place, even like redemptions, that can keep them safe.
mm.
There's nothing more that this protocol can do to protect people from themselves.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the protocol is set up, and even when you use the front end, obviously the DApp, it's going to show you your collateral ratio, and you have to take responsibility for yourself, right? But the protocol is it's there in the numbers. It's going to show you your collateral ratio. You can go back and check it anytime, and as long as you're, like you said, over 150%, I personally would be well over 150%. But as long as you're over 150%, doesn't even matter if the system goes into recovery mode, you still can't be liquidated. So it's a number of things. It's setting a high collateral ratio from the beginning, one that suits your time of life and what's going on with you right now. It's making sure and keeping an eye on the market. And once you're over that 150 threshold, then you're good. And just make sure that you stay above that and hopefully more. And then you can watch your pulse go up in price over the coming months and years. You can extract liquidity. And maybe you can even start to do certain plays like the haunted strategy or what's not. But it's really up to you what you want to do. Liquid loans is real DeFi. So it's flexible. There's no like repayment schedule, there's no fixed terms, there's no interest there. But of course, the system needs to be over collateralized and it has to stay solvent. And how does it do that? By liquidating risky vaults. So just stay in a nice high collateral ratio and you're good.
Absolutely.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on and clearing that up. Just to summarize what we talked about, the liquidation loss is always capped at 110% of the vault's collateral, but the user got 100% of value upfront in USDL. Any remainder, i.e. the collateral above 110%, can be reclaimed by the liquidated borrower.
Correct. There's literally nothing more that could be possibly programmed in to keep people as safe as possible.
So I hope you enjoyed that video with Jesse as we straightened things out and got down to the truth on liquidations. If you do have any more questions, do bounce over to our Telegram group where our mods and admins are there 24/7 answering your questions. If you like the video, guys, do hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you're notified every time we drop new videos on the channel. You can also tap that like, share the video with someone who you think it might benefit, and also drop a comment below for the algo. It does help us out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.